Excellent. Good evening. My name is Jeff Dowd. I'm the District CFO Business Administrator. I am opening the organizational meeting of the Timberlane Regional School District Budget Committee on March 28, 2019 at 7:01 p.m. You have a call of the roll?
Sure. Peter Velo, absent. Brian Boyle.
Here.
Alan David.
Here.
David Gurns.
Here.
Kathleen Gorman, absent. Julie Hammond.
Here.
John Hughes.
Here.
Michael Mascola.
Here.
Todd McCormick.
Here.
Bill Sherwood.
Yeah.
Thank you. If we'll all rise. Perhaps Todd, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first matter on the agenda for the business this evening is to review or discuss the RSA Chapters 32, 33, 195, and the committee bylaws. I will point out that I did hand out anything that has been revised from what you had as a committee last budget season, and we have our budget committee handbooks in binder form, so you'll find that all of the documents, all of the any of the revisions that are made are in the appropriate color to match the index and are three-hole punched. So if you have any questions, we can certainly discuss. I'd like to move on, however, to accepting nominations for the chair, and I will call for nominations. Nominations do not need a second. I'll request a nomination, and then I will request the person being nominated if they would accept the nomination. Once all the nominations are in, we will then call for a vote. If you can just vote once, depending on how many candidates we have, it may be easy. If not, we'll go from there. So, Todd.
I'd like to nominate Michael Mascola.
I'll second that. I know you don't need a second, but I'm seconding it. That's what I was thinking on the way in.
Give me a second. Would you be willing to accept that nomination?
I would accept.
Are there any other nominations for chair? Anyone? First call, second call, any nominations? No?
Nobody else wants it?
You set such a high bar. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I will call for a vote then.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
that's right.
Yep.
I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, if you could raise your hand. Well, it looks unanimous to me. Very well then, it's with significant pleasure that I can turn over the ceremonial gavel.
I guess I won't move my seat.
There you go.
So thank you all for your vote of confidence. Like last year, if there's something on your mind or if I can do something better, please let me know. We'll do whatever we can to be as efficient as we can. So next up would be vice chair. Nominations for vice chair. I got your hand up. David?
Yeah, I nominate Todd McCormick.
Okay, so Todd, would you accept?
I would.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? I'm going to ask 3 times. That was once, twice. Any other nominations? Final call. So, and Todd, you said you would accept?
I would.
Okay. All those in favor of Todd as vice chair? We have unanimous again. Welcome.
Thank you.
My right-hand man now. Oh, so you're going to leave now?
Get out of here.
It's my left hand now.
You could have moved out of that chair quicker. My goodness.
I'll still want to ride home.
We'll see later.
The pay doesn't change. All right, here, and we have others. What others? So we have recording.
We do have a recording secretary. I don't know if there are any other, typically we put that there. I don't think we have anything else that we nominate for.
Yeah, I don't know of any others on this list.
I will say, I think, Brian, you're the official member of the Budget Committee this season. I think I saw an updated list of committee assignments, and you're the...
School board, yeah.
Yep, you're the official rep in the school board, and Sean is still the... Alternate. Thank you. Yep.
So welcome back, Mr. Boyle.
Great.
I'm glad to have you back. All right, for appointments, a recording secretary. So do we ask Sarah if you would like to be the recording secretary?
Yep. I'm
You'd
glad
accept?
to be here. Yes, thank
Good.
you.
Anybody else have any other appointments they'd like to make? Going once, twice, three times? All those in favor? And you've got unanimous. Welcome back and great job. And I don't see any others. So now we're under review and adoption of bylaws. So Jeff, everything you handed out is updated per the state, right?
Correct, yep.
And at this point, since we just got them, we can take them home and read them, and then we are scheduled for an April meeting, and then you bring any notes or changes that you have to that meeting. Does that sound fair?
If I may, the changes, at least to my knowledge, aren't sort of highlighted here. So short of holding these up to the sun, like a light, to see what the difference is, or am I incorrect about that? Are the differences?
So you should see at the bottom of each one, you'll have the revision dates.
Great.
So
All right.
any of the chapters that were changed will
Exactly,
have
thank you. Yeah.
2018.
Yep.
I was looking for a cheat sheet there.
Well, that's kind of a cheat sheet, but I haven't
It
seen
doesn't
revisions
say
yet.
exactly what, but I think if you look online, you'll be able to find the differences.
So John, you're finding the revision where?
At the bottom of each section,
Yeah, I was hoping for the actual.
Effective date, yeah.
they'll have
I'm not
the,
finding- Oh, I see what you're saying there, okay, yes.
for the RSA. So anything that changed within the last year, you'll notice that is most likely that's
Okay.
what's caused this whole thing to come up.
All right, Julie?
I just had a question for Jeff. Is there anything really specific, super important change that we should make sure we look at?
For the budget committee, I don't think that there's anything pressing or significantly noteworthy. There were some changes in statute relating, I don't really think there's anything noteworthy, and I can certainly update at the next meeting if there is anything that comes to my attention
Okay,
from a budget committee perspective.
right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is everybody good that we take this home? We're not going to go through it now. We'll just, at our next meeting, which should be April, if there's any comments, we can address them then. Excellent.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
while you're doing appointments, I've seen how you've got the support of the board here that there is, one of the warrant articles that passed, SAU withdrawal study by statute requires
One person.
one person from this committee.
Yes.
That's in the next meeting.
Yeah, let's do that at the next meeting.
Would that also be for the
CIP? Yeah, so we have it under 9E on our next meeting agenda.
Good.
I'm just going to close out the organizational one.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yes. Super.
Perfect. All right, so we're good on item 7. I don't think there's really any more business to come through the reorganizational meeting, so I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 7:10. All those in favor of adjourning, just raise your hand, we'll just make it official. You got unanimous. And then I'm going to turn right around, and I'm going to open up our regular meeting for the Timberlane Regional School Budget Committee meeting. It's March 28th, 2019, and the time is 7:10. Sarah, for the purposes of the meeting notes, you can just call the roll again, please?
Sure. Peter Bealow, absent. Brian Boyle,
Here?
Ellen David,
here?
David Gerns,
Here.
Kathleen Gorman, absent. Julie Hammond,
Here.
John Hughes,
Here.
Michael Mascola,
Here?
Todd McCormick,
Here.
Bill Sherwood.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have the approval of the minutes. This is from deliberative session. These are the ones that we took in the room off to the side, so I'll give you all a minute to review those and test your memory. Wow, we called the meeting to order at 11:13 PM.
Well, shocking when you
I wasn't here
actually
for that
close
one.
the meeting after doing some business. Relatively quick.
Wow. Good job by Mr. Geary on the notes.
Motion to accept.
Second.
We have a first and second by John and then David. Anybody have comments? I don't see any. All those in favor of accepting the February 8th meeting minutes? You have unanimous. So thank you all. Do we have a correspondence folder going around, Jeff?
Oh, wait, I don't think we have any correspondence.
So while I'm on the topic of correspondence, I was going to do what we did last year. So any emails that would come into budcom2@Timberlane, we typically go to Jeff. Jeff will forward them to me, and then I'll just distribute them over to the board. And then we'll put in everything in the correspondence folder if it comes in either electronically or through the SAU, and it'll get distributed at the meetings. So that's how you'll be receiving them.
So, our agenda packets and everything, all that information,
Will be,
where will we discuss that in this agenda?
we can discuss that under, we could do that under 9C, budget process.
Okay.
It'll work. All right, so correspondence, we have no folder for right now. There's nothing coming in, so that one's nothing. Delegations and individuals, I see none. But the public, you are always welcome to come to our meetings, first and third Thursdays of every month, 7 o'clock here at the SAU. Every month that we meet. Admin report, Jeff, what do you have?
A couple of things. You have, just as an FYI, you have subsequent to the minutes, right behind the minutes, the Health Trust, it says medical rate exhibit, showing our GMR in. We have page 1 of 1 first or 2 first, but anyway, it's,
What do you want first, 1 or 2?
doesn't matter. Our GMR is 5.5% on both sides.
Okay.
For the district, we budgeted at about 6.5%, so I wanted to tie that loose end up as to what was outstanding from the year.
So, let me back up. We budgeted 6.5, and we're in at 5.5.
We're in at 5.5.
That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
So I think it's probably a relatively good rate. Good, looking at what our other plans are increasing at. So
Okay.
we had a big bump a few years ago, and it seems like we've been pretty level since then, which is good. So,
But we consider, we continually budget 6.5 going forward.
yeah, it stays in the budget,
Yeah.
but next year we'll have a budget rate at budget time that will include whatever they estimate that to be. So our GMR came in, our actual rate came in at 5.5%. GMR is the guaranteed maximum rate.
So we're about 1% less. So is there any way to just quickly state roughly 1% saves us?
About 100,000.
About 100,000. Okay.
About 100,000 on its face, just plan,
Right.
Participation to participation, plan to plan. So you're at, yeah. I'll also announce that the treasurer, both the treasurer and assistant treasurer position for the district are open. Our assistant treasurer was elected, I believe, as your town treasurer,
Okay.
Carrie. So she will not be serving as the assistant treasurer, and our current treasurer has chosen not to be reappointed, although the board did reappoint her on an interim basis this year. So
That was a new appointment last year?
they both were.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
Just, so they, 1 year.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good year, so for the treasurer, I think, busy. But, so that's open, so we've posted that on the website, and if you know of anyone who might be interested, please contact that to Kathy Belcher at the SAU.
Can you just quickly state for the public's point, what kind of commitments involved in this position, meaning how many?
Hours or what it is, yeah. Okay, that, and that's a fair question. And one of the things that we wanted to do this year is we had some different, not requirements, but different, I think, expectations of the position, which has worked out well. And as a baseline, our current treasurer is reporting that it's probably on average about 4 hours a week of time. Some of that time is here at the office to sign checks. So the school board approves vouchers. From those vouchers, checks are generated, and the treasurer typically signs those checks and reviews, make sure everything ties out, and then records what the school board has authorized to be paid versus what's been paid through the bank, and comes up with a reconciliation that's separate and apart from the reconciliations that we maintain internally. So it's an outside, the treasurer takes a different perspective on that, if you will. But the biggest, it's a problem, but the biggest area is availability. And a lot of the work they just do on their own. But the work, in terms of getting checks signed, we have certain restraints in times that we need to get, for example, payroll out or AP for our vendor payments out. When we have a time that both of those line up, come in once a week or once every 2 weeks and sign, and then when they don't line up, then it's every week. So that can be somewhat difficult, challenging from a scheduling perspective, to be able to have time to come here. So, in fact, for our current treasurer, they all live in the towns, right? But it depends on where you're coming from. If you're living in the town, but you're working in Manchester, Haverhill, Portsmouth, trying make it to the office at a particular time is tough. So, we have flexibility, obviously, in trying to accomplish their goals. So, that's typically what the time commitment is, and at the end of the day, after collecting all the vouchers that are authorized and signing and reviewing checks to make sure the amounts match, they maintain their own schedule of where the bank balances should be. They check the bank, make sure we're all in line with where we're expected to be. And that's all on their own. That's all whenever they want to do it. It's just being in the office here that's a little restrictive.
And this is a paid position?
It is stipended.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can find this on the school district website?
That's right.
And will also be advertised on their 10 network?
Oh, I would imagine so, yeah. I don't know if Dean knows, but probably. I don't know if Dean, were you advertising the assistant treasurer position?
I don't personally post everything directly.
Thought you did, Dean. No, so it's likely there.
Okay.
We've undergone, I will mention that we've taken a look and revised some processes to make the information as easy as possible. Look at all that. So.
And that's done through, so people that put their name in, that becomes an appointment by vote of the school board?
Yes.
Right,
And the
yeah.
SAU board too, right? I would imagine that.
Yes.
Because they were also the same people doing the SAU board's treasurer?
They were, and then last year, the Hampstead treasurer became the SAU treasurer
Right.
as well.
Right.
Timberlane had fallen a bit behind, and the Hampstead treasurer was able to help out a lot, bringing Timberlane back up to speed as well as SAU. Timberlane on its own is an awful lot. So our treasurer from a couple of years ago, who was deceased, had been doing both for a while.
That's Paul Sullivan.
It was Paul, yeah. But
I wasn't sure if they also are stepping down from the SAU treasurer spot as well, or if it's just for Timberlane.
no, just for Timberlane. And
Okay.
typically, well, as of right now, I would think, I don't know. The problem that we have is we don't really have, we don't really have anyone for Timberlane yet either. So
Right. Okay.
I would expect that we have a very competent treasurer at the SAU level and Hampstead level. It's a lot to take on both because we have a number of different accounts, bank accounts as well.
Yep.
And I think the idea would be that the treasurer, assistant treasurer from Timberlane would be able to at least shadow what the SAU treasurer is doing. So they've been working together, and it's been exceptionally good in terms of the best way to look at things, best practices, what's the best way to, what's the most concise schedule to do a reconciliation, for example.
Yep.
So there's been a little bit of that going on, and it's been very, very useful.
Okay.
So, but I don't think, we don't actually have an assistant treasurer for SAU, even, no, not even, barring this year's appointment, I think that position had been open.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Does that pretty much wrap up your admin report? Perfect. 7, reports of committees. So for budget committee members, I'll first ask, does anybody from our committee have anything to report? And if they don't, the next thing I'm going to throw out there is there's the CIP committee, and they are looking for a member from this board to be a member of the CIP committee. So David did it last year. So I'm looking for somebody who would want to help participate on that committee. Don't all raise your hands at once.
I'll stick with it.
You'll stick with it? John, did you?
Yeah, I can.
I would prefer to,
I can put my name in for that.
yeah, let him.
So I was asked by our representative of our selectmen if I would put my name in for the town, but I said, our committee sends somebody, so, you know, if I'm going in for that, I'll go in as the committee member.
That's perfect. As a matter of fact, what you can actually do is if you can't make a meeting, David, would you be willing to take his backup just for
Sure.
information for that?
Yep, that's,
We can work that.
So I'm gonna pass this piece of paper down. This is their meeting notice for their next meeting, which is April 17th.
oh, I can't make that.
Nice touch.
I can't do that, sorry.
Well done.
I know, I can't.
It's already a burden.
So I'll send, is it Sue Sherman is the chair of that committee?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll send her an email and I'll just CC you on it, but thank you for stepping up, both of you. So there are any other budget committee members who had anything to share? I'm seeing none. School board rep. Welcome back, Mr. Boyle.
Yeah, we've had one meeting, and I guess as far as the budget committee is concerned, yes, I was selected again, I guess, to serve with you people, so, hey.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Or condolences,
Good.
however you want to take it.
There you go.
It keeps your Thursday nights full.
There you go.
Okay, so we'll expect more from you down the road, but nothing right now?
Nothing right now, no.
Unfinished business. David, help me out from last time. What this team, what other unfinished business do we have? None?
None. I think we did everything we needed to do.
Yeah,
It was a wrap.
good. That's a good thing. We'll use the same format. Anything that we don't finish, we'll kind of table parking lot for down the road, but this is a good way to wrap up as we approach this close of the fiscal year. New business, we're on 9A, review election results and approve budget. So, you all have a sheet in front of you. It's got all the tallies by each town, summing up for the district. You guys saw all this information back on the 12th. Here it is again, so,
I included a copy of
First I've seen it.
and you have a copy of the warrant.
the well, ballot, just in case anyone has any questions specifically on those items. It's Plastow's, it's just was the first one I drafted.
So all this work, for instance, I'll pick on like number 4, you know, the pack wall. So this would all start after July 1?
Yes.
July 1 or after? Okay. Is anything starting before? No?
Not on the ballot, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
I would imagine there shouldn't be a cost impact necessarily, but the SE withdrawal petition, that committee could get going, I suppose, whenever. There are
Yeah.
no financial implications.
Right.
But aside from that, whatever we may have some projects to get done before the end of the year, we certainly haven't had.
Do we
Well,
know the total monetary impact of the, like the pack wall and the, collective bargaining agreement and everything? How much that's gonna increase?
Let me,
Outside from the capital reserve, though. Right.
Well, yeah, but, so, I mean, but.
what's the total budget?
What our total increase will be just based on articles that passed?
I'll get a copy of that for you.
Okay.
For today or for
No,
our
right.
next meeting?
Well, it'll be part of the
I'll
budget.
get it printed and distributed. It's nice.
No, I
to
was just
have.
asking, is he going to get this information for us today or for the next meeting? He's saying today.
Yeah, here right now. Just I'll print it out.
Okay. Yeah, so unless somebody wants to go piece by piece with these election results, I'm just going over by the summary.
Looks good to me.
Anybody else have questions on the summary? Election results as a whole? Alan, you're good?
I'm good, sir. Although I noticed my Sandown said we've passed none of this, but
Yeah, well, so that's
that's my constituency, so I'm going to say no from here on out.
the operating didn't pass by much.
No, and so this one I'm going to tell you is, I think we're fortunate. The school board did their work. We did ours. We came up to the last
I'm happy
meeting.
that the budget passed, we're good.
No, look, yeah, I'm
I think
very
we did a
happy.
good job last year.
But
We'll see
Sandown and Dan
what kind of the overages this year, if we
turned it
can.
down.
There's no smoke and mirrors, Brian, we'll should be get a better view.
I think we're gonna be in good shape, because I think you're gonna find that the increase in the budget, the increase in the teacher's contract, I think you're gonna find that will be almost offset with, there was positions they were advertising, so the administration is just working out to see what's, what they have to fill, what they don't have to fill, so might not be that big increase, you think?
Right, well, that's what I was wondering,
I think it's
so,
gonna be.
because we don't know what those positions are, I wasn't sure when we would really see that number until next school,
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. 9B, SAU District Overview. Jeff?
Well, I went through this last year, and, the board hasn't changed at all, and it's really just a word about what the SAU itself does, and so we handle the SAU itself provides superintendent-level administrative and curriculum-related leadership on that end of the house, and on my end of the house, more in my world, provides finance and business support, budgeting support. We undertake HR functions, and I don't know if, I think you, well, we do a lot of fingerprinting upstairs, for example, as part of HR support. So those are some of the things that the office provides. I went over statistics last year with the board as to the amount and the volume between the combined districts as to how much we pay out, and it's about 90 million. And most of those expenses go right through my office, and a lot of them are reviewed by me personally. Any purchase order that's generated for anything in this district goes through my office. So that's a lot of what we handle. Quite a bit.
Can you just tell the public roughly how big is the staff of the SAU?
The finance department is a department of 5, for example, and about 14 and a half altogether.
For the total SAU?
Total SAU.
Yep. And your budget was about
$2 million.
$2 million bucks. Okay.
And a lot of that, what we've been doing over the years is we've been trying, as expenses have been coming up, we've been able to review them. We've entered into a contract for something that may be for the benefit of both districts, to make sure that it gets allocated pursuant to the allocations. Those expenses have been included directly in the SAU budget. So when you look at the budget, it seems like it's a bigger budget, and it's huge, one thing or another. But our enterprise system, for example, goes through the SAU, so that gets allocated out between all the between the 3 entities, between SAU, Hempstead, and Timberlane. So we've been trying to be more conscious of that to make sure that we are pulling and charging expenses that are SAU related, meaning that they should be split between the districts at the SAU level. So we may have had something before that Timberlane may have paid for that SAU may have paid it, so it gets caught up in the allocation that way. And now we're just trying to enter into contracts directly with vendors through the SAU. And an example of that is the fingerprint machine. That whole operation, that whole setup was an $8,000 purchase. And so that was something that was made at the SAU level. So that those costs can be allocated down to the districts pursuant to the allocation scheme. So that's a lot of what we have. Transportation as well is handled through district, SAU office, but the individual districts have transportation contracts with the respective vendors. But the coordination of all that is handled at the SAU level.
Yeah. And the reason we talk about the fingerprinting is because I was fingerprinted for volunteering.
Yeah, and you saw the neat machine,
today,
right?
I saw it for the first
So
time.
buying that, does that save us money? We don't have to send people out to Salem, for instance, to get
It's
the
faster
fingerprint.
too, right?
So is that what it's done?
What, the machine? Or
Yes.
Yes. The machine gives us a greater accuracy right there.
Okay.
Whether fingerprints have a better chance than not to be accepted by the state police.
Sure.
And it is faster.
Okay.
It is faster. And based on
Cheaper
that,
in the long run, I imagine, too.
I think
using
so.
outside sources to do it.
Yeah, and the volume that we're doing now, especially because we're fingerprinting volunteers, any substantial volunteers to the district, the volume that we're doing would be almost impossible to have our towns undertake. So I don't know if Danville has office hours. I don't know if Atkinson has office hours. I don't know how long those police stations are even open for.
They're Monday through Friday.
Like 9 to 5, 9 to 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's closed on Friday. So the town hall is closed.
Well, but the police station, so typically the police station, last time it was fingerprinted for a kind of access level was at Plastow Police, and they used ink. So I had to, they inked your fingers and they did them on the blotter. Here, you're putting them on a scanner.
Right.
And they're scanning it.
Yeah,
There's
the
no
scanner
ink
comes back
involved.
positive and,
And
says,
it's
yeah, good-
digitized right away.
Yeah,
and I
good
think you
scan,
get a
bad scan.
clearer- It's clearer than doing ink.
Sure.
So it's a better, quicker process.
And it'll tell you right there, what are your
Yes.
percent chance of that getting passed.
Yeah, we redid a couple of my fingers because they didn't, it didn't
Right.
see it, but on a blotter, an ink blotter, you might not, so I think it's a more accurate, like.
So the problem with that is that if those prints are not
Done
captured
correctly.
accurately,
Right.
they go to state police then sends them back to us. We then have to reach out to whomever it is
Come back in.
to come back in, and that's doubling our staff time.
Yeah.
And all the while, how much time have you lost, and where's the person, if it's a teacher or someone like that, how much time do you have? And if there's a failure a third time, they go through a separate process, and I think they do have to go to the local police department. So it's really created, based on the volume that we're doing right now, it has created a lot of efficiency at our level. So I think we're seeing probably fewer, at least as far as I can tell, I think we're seeing fewer rejections. I think we're seeing more overall come back, but our volume is staggering compared to what it used to be because of the volunteer fingerprinting. It's just think of every volunteer, every parent that goes on a field trip, every parent who participates in an in-school program. It's a lot. It's the right thing to do,
Certainly is.
but it's a lot of volume.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up your district overview. Now we're on 9C, budget process. So I'll just, if you look at your next page, it should say proposed budget preparation process. Last year, this committee formed a subcommittee, which, if my memory serves right, it had Todd, Peter, and Kathy.
Yes.
We sent them off to kind of come up with a process. My philosophy was, if it worked for us last year, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, so you concur. So I'm looking to do whatever we did well last year, I want to move forward and do it, and what we didn't do well or we can improve on, we'll improve. And I'm more than welcome to any changes, but this is the process that subcommittee came up with last year. So I don't see another reason, unless this board thinks there is one, is to go back out there and either refine the budget process or not. So, thoughts? Keep it the same?
I say we keep it the same.
Look, so, we can say keep it the same, and we'll go forward that way, but if there's something we want to tweak, we can tweak it.
We never had a process.
Right.
So now at least we have a process documented that we can adjust as we go
And
through.
by the way, so this process is up on SharePoint, so anybody at home can go under the BudCom website, they can get this document. This document also gets shared, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, with all the presenters that'll come in the fall, so they at least know what we're looking for? Okay, so, keeping this as is, going forward. The next one I have for D, is the discussion of the Budget Committee meeting schedule.
So you said we can discuss the agenda piece under C?
Yes.
All right, so, we decided to have all of the, documents attached to the agenda last year. So it gets put on the calendar under that. So if you go looking for a particular document, you have to
Find the meeting. And
find the meeting and go under that.
Yes.
We have a SharePoint site with a folder structure, that people go looking for things. So I'm just concerned, I know people went looking for information that wasn't there because it was in the calendar. You had to go into the calendar and look for it. But they're looking under our structure.
When you say people, this committee? Or out-
Residents.
Oh, residents.
Residents, as well as myself.
Okay.
I had to remember, what meeting did we discuss that, and go back and find it to look at the packet with the information. If I missed a meeting, and I didn't have it, I'd have to go back and look. And sometimes, so some information is stored, Jeff, you've uploaded.
Yeah.
We get expenditures and revenue uploaded to the ShareFile site. Other stuff is kept under the calendar, and it kind of, we're keeping stuff in multiple places.
So, this is my impression of the way the file structure worked. You store all the files under whatever folder they appropriately belong in. And then Jeff, when he builds our agenda packet that says, March 28th meeting, They're just links to all the files in the different spots. No?
No, it doesn't.
No, that might be something to explore, but
Sounds like a lot of work for you, Jeff.
it's, well, and the problem with it, the perspective on it is, because I can appreciate that perspective. The problem that this committee, I would suggest, had prior to that was, you might get the agenda, and then you have to go
Find all that stuff.
and find your department report, find all that. So the question last year was, for ease of committee review, is it easier just to have all of those documents in one place? Good discussion, have the discussion. It does, in a sense, it does, I don't want to say double, but it makes, it's a bit more work on my end to be able to post in both places, but I think it's more important for this committee as a whole to be able to view everything in one place.
Right, so I'm a big advocate for myself. I want to go to one file, open up that PDF, and it's got my entire packet. And I'm not going through different folders and where do they hide it or put it.
If it's helpful, if it's for the department summaries, I can throw those maybe in a different folder, in because right now, the request was to have certain of the files in Excel, and then I upload it to PDF, everything in one file to PDF, and then the individual files under the agenda for Excel. So I'm already creating two different formats and uploading and making sure that those sync. It is more work, it is additional work. I can see what it looks like if you wanted to post to the department summary page as well.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, what type of documents are you referring to?
So when we get the agenda packets that
Right.
have, like you said, the summaries and all the budgets and everything, they're in that agenda packet, they're attached to the calendar. If you want to go back and review any of that information, you have to remember what meeting. I had to go back and look and say, okay, what meeting was that in? So I can go into the calendar, click on that meeting, find the attachment, and kind of review. And we also end up keeping some Excel docs, budget stuff ends up. We have a structure that we've kept in the past.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it when I first started, so I got used to doing it that way. You could put the PDF packet up, and when you send us our email
Yep.
for the agendas, just a link to that PDF where it is in share file instead of in the calendar. So there's.
Well, the PDF packet, though, that's I don't have, I guess I could put together an agenda packet folder, right? But that would be still one file, right? If I were to link to it somewhere else aside from the meeting.
Yeah.
So
I'm just.
It's not the PDF agendas that you're talking about
Right.
that people are going to look for. It's the individual files that are hosted
So
in
there's
calendar.
so each of the documents that are posted from each of the schools.
Right, like Atkinson.
Atkinson, they have a summary, they have their budget. That's all kept in that calendar invite, it's not stored, in the share file, it's in the calendar. So when people have to go back, what night were they here? So there's a lot, anything related to our meeting is in the calendar.
in one place.
And, but you have to know where. You have to remember what day. And, so I found I used this quite a bit, but that changed.
Go back. Yeah,
You know, so not everybody, so I was looking, all right, what night were they supposed to be here? And I have to go back to my email and,
Can we do this? Give Jeff the task. So let's do this. If we can keep our agenda packets just the way they are, it's one-stop shopping for us, okay? And then give Jeff the task to explore a better way to make this information available to the community who doesn't have like our logins, so they can access on any given, any of this information that's in our agenda packets.
I see where you're going, because we're trying to meet two audiences,
Right.
okay? We've got us as audience one, because we want to see the material before the meeting, so we can prepare for the meeting. And then the audience two is the communities. And I would think that they would want to see what we did. Okay, so it would seem to me that we do it the way we have been, posting it as part of the agenda. But then after the meeting, either do a copy or a transfer and move that in the folder so that the community folks can see it in that one location for them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
My hope was that we would be able to go through and perhaps, so, for example, curriculum. Curriculum's on a particular night. We look at it. Next meeting, you'd make a determination. Gee, we heard it. We thought about it. We'd like to take out X, Y, Z. We'd like to add X, Y, Z. At that point, then it would be final, and I can post it to that folder.
Because the thing is that all of the topics that we talk about are going to be discussed at least twice
Right.
in the budget period. So even though it might be, it might be considered preliminary for as you prepare it for our meeting, it will evolve, and then eventually the evolution will be tracked also in that packet if you just do it after the meeting for the communities. So it makes more sense to kind of do this thing in a linear fashion rather than trying to either make dupes, one for us and one for the community before the meeting.
Yeah, and I think that there's a significant amount of risk. I'm looking at one meeting here. It was November 29th, and we have the agenda, then the agenda packet, which contains all of the department work, right? And then I have a student services budget in Excel, special education budget in Excel, professional learning budget in Excel, facilities projects in Excel, facilities generally in Excel, and curriculum in Excel. So between the files that I've got where they're in the agenda packet, meaning that we already have the facilities proposed, their summary as well as their budget in the agenda, then I have facilities in Excel. It's very difficult for me to make sure that the Excel always ties to what's in the agenda packet. And then there's a risk that what is in that folder for all of those has to mirror then what's in the community, let's call it the community folder, the department summaries folder or whatever it is. I like the idea. I just don't ever want to get into a situation that for some reason those aren't perfectly synced up.
Yeah, but you would wouldn't you do your maintenance, your corrections based on our directions?
Well, I was hoping to do a
In
final post.
the Excel before you made the PDF.
No, I create the Excel from our system, from our enterprise system. It actually spits out the Excel for me. So I make the adjustment in the enterprise system, run the report, print it to Excel, and then print it to PDF.
And those have changed. We've seen where it's been posted in the meeting, and then we get another version that's posted in the meeting.
Yeah.
So we know those change as well in between, before we meet and stuff, but.
Because I know that there's a certain fan club who would love nothing more than for that change to be reflected in the agenda or in the agenda packet and not in an Excel document or not in that folder and then the other folder. And before you know it, we're getting a flurry of emails, reports to DOE, the FBI, fraud going on.
I just want to make sure that the information is easily found and accessible, and not just by us, but like David said, our constituents that are out there, that they don't have to go searching for something that's easily found. So we're open and transparent.
Right.
And until we do the final vote,
those moves.
It's all of those numbers are preliminary.
So the question is, what is it that is it?
So could you watermark it as preliminary until we do a final vote?
Well, everything's just draft until then.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just.
So what if we were just more illustrative in the description on the calendar, and then just updated the calendar? So like you were mentioning, you looked at that, John, but then it changed. But wouldn't it be easier to just like after the fact just identify exactly what happened that night in the calendar, so that if somebody was searching for specifically, the presentation from the Danville principal or facilities or whatever, it was on the calendar, so you could just go and look. Oh, that's what the information.
It is right there, description, but maybe make it a little bit more description. So
Well, no, we never had that not last budget season, the budget season before. In that description line, there wasn't anything in there.
Right.
So now I said, because of that, I said, to make it a little bit easier, let me include in the description line in the meeting what we're supposed to
for the purpose of the people who couldn't see it. So if you click on a specific meeting, it says right on this one, by example, it says CIP presentation, budget presentation, facilities, facility projects, curriculum, professional learning. So it's telling you what's in that packet.
After you've clicked on it.
Right.
But yes,
So what if you made it?
but let me just back up. We're only talking 8 meetings.
Right.
We have 8 meetings where we do basically 100% of our work. So, yes, that means you have to click on 8 links to read 8 descriptions. I don't think that's horrible.
On the meetings themselves in the calendar, the description would show up. So where it says like upcoming meetings and agendas, for example, where it says reorganization meeting,
Right.
that's where that description shows up. It's not always very clear. What I'd like to do is I get what your comments are, and that's why I said, which way are we going to do this? Because if I do it on a department perspective, if I do it on a posting to the department summary page, I run the risk now I've got double the files because now I've got things in PDF and Excel. And if I'm posting for the really for the convenience of the board, an agenda packet on our meeting, and then I'm contemporaneously posting under the other department summaries page. There's gonna be a point at which those don't line up, and there's a fan club out there who's eager to jump on that, and that's a lot of brief on this end. If I could find a way maybe to link,
That would be easy.
that would be a little easier. If I
You
could
can
update
link it.
one.
So, and
There's
some of
millions
that.
of ways to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry?
There's millions of ways to do that.
We're
Honestly,
a little limited in.
the SharePoint is incredibly antiquated. Is there a search function even within the
There is. I
calendar?
couldn't tell you how efficient it is though.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll search the calendar
This
depending on
is-
where you
We're
are.
moving
Or
over.
the PDFs.
If
Yeah.
you've noticed, the Timberlane website itself has changed,
I had noticed, yeah.
and so if you go to our lead page,
Yeah.
it's changed. And if you go to the sub pages, a lot of them are still the same, because we're working on transitioning over because everyone feels the pain of SharePoint. Everyone feels the pain of SharePoint.
And I think we had some correspondence last year, and I saw a mention from some residents that they couldn't find some information that used to be posted. You go back and look at our historical SharePoint folder structure, and things are in there, and then they go looking at the current one, and it's not there, and they, so I know
And
that
that's
came up.
Yeah, and that's a
So-
decision that the committee made.
Right.
Which do you prefer? I get the request, and it's that very comment, by the way, that makes it so difficult to try and implement change, because anything that's different gets reported correspondence like this. So I'm hearing that. Let me see what I can do to link.
Yeah, get with Ken and see if there's.
They still had access to it though, right? It just wasn't in
It's
the
convenient.
same place.
It wasn't in the same place. You're expecting it to be in the same place. The historical, it was in there, and then you're not sure where it is. So all of a sudden, it's like, we're not posting it online. It's not available if they can't find it. So
And-
the intent would be so it's online available. So we're showing that we are making it available.
And there is a little bit of friction, I think, between what we're trying to implement on our site and its integration into
Yep.
SharePoint.
All right, let me do this. So we're not going to solve the problem right here.
No, I just wanted to bring the
It's a
topic.
great one. So here's what we're going to do.
Glad
This will
you
be
did.
our first parking lot item. So we're going to stick that item under there. So Jeff, if you could take a look at this, see what you can do to help improve the situation. And then do you think you'd be able to, at the April meeting, give us an update on this? Perfect.
Well,
Yes? No?
yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay. That sound good for you, John?
Yes, that would be great.
Excellent. So we are looking at next the discussion of the Budget Committee schedule. Everybody should have that copy in front of them. It's pretty much a mimic of what we did in 2018. We have tonight's meeting. We have a cleanup meeting in April if we decide to hold it. I think it's a good idea because it's more of a wrap-up of, as we approach the close of our fiscal year, we can get a better alignment of where we are. And then after that, I said we have 8 meetings. We have 2 in September, 2 in October, 2 in November, and 2 in December. And then after that, we hit our public hearing and then deliberative session. So we don't have that many meetings. So with that being said, we can't do too much about the meetings in September and October. We own the 2nd and the 4th. The school board does the 1st and the 3rd. We come to November, we shifted it, so we don't align on Thanksgiving Day. So it's a Tuesday. And we're also doing one the day after Christmas, the 26th. It says that this meeting may be canceled, depends where we are in the budget process.
Quick question.
Did we do
What part of the country, I mean?
Jeff, is November still have 5 Thursdays?
No.
So I put this together, it's kind of an odd thing, but I put this together based on, I think, really what the bylaws have indicated and what practice has been. And so, yeah, there are 5 Fridays, 4 Thursdays. So I put this together with where we had been before. I don't know that, so for example, you see one of them, the Thursday, December 26th, that's just by what the bylaws say. So if that's a meeting that you knew, geez, we're probably not going to have much luck with that, let's find another time. Now would be a good time to have that discussion.
There are 5 in October. It looks like Brian gets to do that with the school board this year.
What do you mean he gets to do that?
There's 5 Thursdays in October.
Okay.
We're on the 2, so the school board will be on the 3rd, 17th, and the 31st.
So they get the extra
They
meeting.
get the extra meeting.
Okay.
I guess so last year we set a little bit more aggressive time for the departments to come in. And, so they weren't ready based on our schedule, so we kind of pushed that off a little bit. So, we might want to look at that schedule again and see.
That's the schedule, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that one there, and see when the departments can actually be in here. And I think that if they can't physically be in here to present, but their budget is ready to come in, it'd be good to have that information ahead of time, as early as we can. So at least we can review it and be ready for when they come.
Yeah, I think we had a few odd situations last year.
We
where
did. So what I had asked Jeff to do is, so this is all a draft. It's our tentative schedule. It's our tentative presentation list. It's our first view at it, but share it with all the administrators, building principals, the different directors out there, so they at least know, one, they will be coming in, and they have a ballpark based on tonight's schedule of when that is. It's hard for them to say if they're going to be ready or not, if they're attending a conference, but if their budgets are ready, by all means, we can look at them ahead of schedule. So, does anybody have any questions about the actual schedule itself? Okay, it's about the same amount of meetings. And the presentation draft schedule we have, again, was the one that was created last year, kind of from the subcommittee that we formed, so we had some anomalies last year. We couldn't control them, but yeah, we will. I think, Jeff, what we'll be looking for you to do, and maybe this is a conversation I'll have with you in the summer, is you'll be reaching out to, whoever's up at first bat on the schedule, just saying, are you still on track to make the September,
That's Brian.
Okay, Brian. But
You're on the clock.
but whatever, for the October 10th. So we'll keep these as is, and they'll be shared with administration, so they have a heads up.
And just as a reminder on that quickly, that when we're getting our financials wrapped up, the principals, everyone are getting ready for school, and they're able to take a look at where they ended up in the previous year, and typically take some time to get their budgets together. And this is a good schedule. I think that it's tight in some ways. You'll notice, for example, maintenance of facilities and student service special education at the end. What I found last year was they simply have a much better idea as to where we are later on in the season than it is. So that's some perspective on that. The business office has a number of, between audit and some significant state filings to get done for September 1st. So really, the budget process really isn't effectively starting before that time anyway. So this really, even if it were, I don't know how much participation I get, because the principals don't even know who they have in their schools at that time.
But you must know closer to the beginning. So each department's going to go through with their presentation according to the schedule.
Correct.
But you must know up in the beginning what your anticipated requested budget will be.
Yes.
So could you share that up in the beginning?
I mean, in terms of what the total would be, or?
Yes.
I hear the request, so let's figure out how that's gonna look, because I developed a budget in a number of different phases.
Mhm.
So the validity of that data and where things are and how they're gonna look and that sort of thing, I can probably get some idea.
So,
But staffing has a lot to do with it.
here's my overview, just what I'm thinking is, what we saw is, 1 of 10 pieces going through this presentation, and we just summed them up. Piece 1, piece 2, piece 3. When we get to the end, we've seen all the presentations, we know how much they are, and you add them all up, and we get our number. I'm just asking if you guys have kind of a general sense.
Yeah.
We said, we think we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know how it's broken up. It's a general number. But then as we go through all those presentations, it's the building blocks of how it got to the number that we may have got in the beginning. It's just all the sub pieces. But that way, it's a coarse number. It's not going to be etched in stone, but we get a sense of what administration is looking to do. Kind of what direction they're going at, and in what magnitude. If you can, I think that would
Yeah.
help.
See what I can do.
So we'll work on that one.
If I can have a minute, just go upstairs and grab before we start into the next discussion on the schedules. Really helpful for the board.
That's fine. So Jeff, you can run up there.
So, and also, last year, we had an extra meeting in there. Kathy had arranged for a lot of us to get into a municipal budget meeting that was happening in Sandown, and I think quite a few of us attended that. So if anything else comes up, I think we should have some flexibility there, and if somebody sees anything like that, they should be able to reach out to the chair and see who's interested in attending things like that.
So you can easily, reach out to New Hampshire Municipal Association, see if they have any training in this area.
And if anybody missed something like that, it wasn't the whole board that went, but they had some good discussions in that. So.
It was worth it.
Yeah, I thought so.
It was well worth it. So I'm sure Kathy's on top of that, so we can pick her brain for some of that information.
Yep. And it was attended by school board members as well as budget, so it was good to have all of us in a meeting as well as other towns, so.
All right, Jeff, what do you have for us now?
These are the information. I hope you find you'd find this useful. This is just a quick voted recap and a comparison to prior year. We asked for. So there's one copy of each. I'll ask you to take one. And pass them down. You didn't want that. So if you take a look at the
Jeff, hold on one second. I
Yep.
just want to let the information
You
get
know
down there.
Yeah, we got multiple copies.
He doesn't have, I don't think Brian has one.
We're sending them down. You're going to give us another minute here.
Yep.
How many different?
2 sheets.
2 sheets. Great.
And if I had really
One landscape, one
You have
portrait.
that one already? Well, you don't have this one. Yeah, okay.
What's that one? Well, no, I don't
Second one.
have.
You would never think 2 sheets would cause us so much grief, right?
I have, I have one sheet. And
Somebody
it's,
help Alan out.
Thank you. No, I have 2.
Does everybody
I
have
have two
2
sheets.
on the right?
Two.
On the
You got
left?
two?
Good. Okay, Jeff, go.
You did too?
So if you find this useful, I think you would ask John so this is 2 perspectives. One, how does our voted budget and all of the associated articles, how is our budget built based on what has been approved? That is under the portrait sheet. It says TRSD 1920 voted budget recap. And just as a quick note, I believe this committee requested last year that any capital reserve amounts not be included in budget comparison reports.
Yes.
Because it was raised separately. I know that we have the pack wall replacement, the $531,000 funded separately. That cannot be removed for our reporting purposes from the budget. Because I'm able, in some, but not all of my reports, in some of them, I'm able to exclude, most of them, I'm able to exclude that capital reserve warrant line item in total. But the pack wall, as approved, just gets put in with our current.
We're gonna spend it, so it's.
Well, no, it's we're going to spend it, but it's also raised. There's quote unquote no tax impact.
It's no tax impact.
Right, but it's
Now,
still part
now
of
isn't the
the
250, wasn't that what we reserved,
It's money
we
going
had in the
into-
671, 681, I thought. I thought we already had capital reserve
This
included
is
in
the
that
new
budget.
voted one, though.
It's, yeah.
Yep.
This is what passed on the 12th.
And it's only up to 250.
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't guarantee it's gonna be 250, so. using that number, it kind of,
Did that answer your question, Ellen?
Yeah.
So this year, for purposes of this was actually what was on the ballot, this is actually what was voted, and this is what the actual implication of it is. That's all well and good, but if this committee wanted to look at a lot of your reports, we'd remove that 250. So your number would be 73,078,676.
Correct.
Just so you know, but this is the total budget as voted, period, that's it. So for comparative purposes, if you take a look at what was voted last year, you can see the two budgets next to each other. And again, this is just what people showed up and voted. That landscape sheet is the side-by-side. And you can see the breakdown, salary, benefits, and expenses, total budget, and as compared from 1920 to 1819. Overall, that's not bad. When you look at it, the 2% increase based on your CBA alone of 866,000. Your tax impact would not be 2.19% based on all factors constant, because $500,000 of that
It's going to be taken out.
It's coming out, right.
is not, it's offset by
Taxable,
revenue.
it's coming out from the reserve.
So I know the numbers seem big and everything passed on the ballot. When you look at it, 2%, and you take $500,000 out of that.
Everybody understand that one?
So the real cost was benefits, basically, was up $1 million, basically.
What's that, Ellen?
No, the benefits from 2019, 20, 18, 19.
It's a change of $1 million.
So that's that. Any questions on that, let me know, but analytically, this is probably the biggest and neatest and dirtiest way to take a look at it. So,
Okay.
I regret if I missed anything. I was upstairs getting that. I figured that information would be useful, so I'm glad that we had it. So, and then we have our typical revenue and expenditure report up through February.
So I'm going to make this suggestion again, unless anybody has questions or comments on it now, but for the expense report, revenue expense report up to February, we were given this report tonight or a couple days ago. If you have questions, we can always address them at our next meeting. It doesn't mean it's off the books. Okay?
These are posted to SharePoint, and there are the remind me or notify me features.
So everybody's got this copy in their packet?
If you're not receiving emails when these are posted directly from SharePoint, or at least on a daily basis, let me know if you'd be interested in those. When I post these, I post them monthly when we're not meeting, so I'm not going to necessarily send out an email.
Yeah, I would just recommend everybody, just touch base with the website, get reacclimated to, the documents, where things are kept, the calendar, all that information. All right.
So as of right now, we're okay with the meeting schedule? Is everyone up on it?
So I asked, I didn't really hear anybody looking to change it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, board, but I think that's what we're gonna go forward. So you're gonna disseminate all this information off to the proper administrators, what our schedule is, when the presenters are looking to come, our budget process write-up that we used last year, everything. So they are informed the best they can be ahead of time of how our process will work and when, according to our draft, they're anticipated to show up. So,
Jeff, when do you think you'll, last year, I think we had you do an earlier scheduling of the facility tours, or, I don't know, maybe that was the same time, but that's something we probably won't know until August?
Yeah, that's around the time that we start getting into scheduling those. So, but, last year, I think the committee had agreed that you prefer not to see them on a meeting night.
correct.
Right.
So I know that with the meeting nights that you've had, it seemed the meetings didn't necessarily run as long, and thinking back on it, you're saving an hour, 2 hours at least. So as we get into that point, those will be scheduled, and I can work around our schedule.
Okay.
Knowing what our schedule is helpful.
I did hear at deliberative session from different residents, we might want to look at a better way where we can get that information out about facility tours, especially if the school board's going to go look down the road to potentially, I don't know if they are, Brian, maybe a bond for down in years. You really want our community to have the opportunity, well, they have the opportunity, but they don't always know about it. I mean, they don't run home after work and log onto Timberlane and see, you know, what's posted. But we need a better way that they have this invite that says, come see our facilities. That way when we as a district ask for things,
Ask for a bond, it'd be nice to know.
it's
why
nice to
we're
know,
asking
you
for a
know,
bond.
look, we're showing you what we want to go work on. You can physically see it. And now when we put the request in, it's like connect the dots.
Right.
But we need a better way that they can actually get the information to know when that schedule is going to take place, the facility tour.
I agree.
Yeah, well, this had been, if you will, this had been during budget committee time meetings and all that. But Brian, I mean, you know, I don't know why. I don't know if that would be the reason that it's either a facilities committee and budget committee type joint thing. Why wouldn't it be a joint thing with the board as well? You know, it wouldn't have to be on a board night, but just you know, to have everyone say.
No, let me back up real quick. Then, David, I'm going to get you. I want to say, forget the school board, forget the budget committee.
Well, that's
Not everybody goes home and says, "Oh, tonight we're going to watch the school board," and they're going to.
Really?
Sorry, the Bachelorette takes over you.
Definitely
Okay?
don't do that with the budget committee.
So we need a better way, and I'm not sure
You tune into the.
if we put something in front of the schools. You know, we got the signs for each school.
Yeah, that
says-
would help. There'd be the signage in front, it's gonna be
So if we have
open
a-
to public.
So for every
tour the-
community,
Tour the facility tonight, or at what time?
or for next week facility tours, or something
Yeah.
to advertise. So if you see a parent dropping kids off at the elementary school,
They'll
they'll
see the
see it in
sign.
every town, or the middle school. Just some way that it's in front of them, because if we rely on them to go to our website, or to watch our meetings, it's a small audience.
I know we do publish them, but I don't know.
Publish
that it
them
would-
where?
Well, the announcement, as all of our district announcements are. I'm not
So look at that's good. I'm just saying, what
sure.
can we do better? Let me just get David real quick.
so sure how effective
Yeah,
it
I
is.
suggest we use the closed circuit TV. Okay, we have a channel for the Timberlane district, and we can announce it in those. In addition, at least Plasso, and I'm assuming that the other towns too, have their own bulletin boards. So that so the date that we go to Pollard, for example, could be posted in the Plasto bulletin board. That way, it's seen, it's more visible. And I can't speak to the other towns, but I know that bulletin board in Plasto was used quite a bit to get information about public meetings and public hearings.
So that's what I want to do. I want to go with, I think we all know something's going to be coming in the years in front of us pretty soon. And so the best thing is get this information out to the residents so they have every opportunity. So Jeff, whatever we were doing before was good. We just want to do more.
I like the idea of the billboard at the school, at the point where the kids are being dropped. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I found them to all be incredibly valuable, and I think everyone should. You know, I mean, that's the
But
first
now if
time
we're
I've
doing
ever
a
been in
bond,
school
everybody
besides
should be,
Danville
people
and-
from Sandown should be
Yeah.
going to Pollitt to see what we need at Pollitt, because it's all from the
Right.
same
Yeah.
pot.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not just gonna be town Pacific.
yeah. I love the ones I went to in your town.
Social
and
media
Atkinson
piece.
and
Timberlane has a social media, and you see posts come out with that should be there. 'cause
So Jeff,
it kinda splits it all over.
here's a suggestion. When it comes to the facility tours, I want to advertise it to every possible avenue within our reach.
I like
What-
the outreach to the towns
It's
directly
free.
as well.
Yeah.
That's free.
Different audience.
But
Okay.
I would also ask all the members to go to their selectmen meeting
Okay.
and advertise it to at the selectmen meeting so that anybody watching the selectmen
So
meeting.
this is something we can readdress when we
Yep.
reconvene in September. And go from there. All right, so I don't want to beat this up too much more, but that's our schedule. Good to go on to the next topic?
Yep.
9E, appointment of Budget Committee member to the essay withdrawal study. So we're looking to get one person. So the school board's going to have 2 members. I think was there 1 member from every town?
yes,
4 members of the, well, it's 4 members of the public. theoretically.
Yes.
They could be from this, they could be from just one town, but.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully they pick one from each town.
Okay, and so the bottom line is one from this budget. I'm sorry, one from this committee, so I'd like to find out who's got some interest to, look at the hands popping up now. So, but we're only gonna take one, so first of all, we don't know what night, but my biggest thing is whoever wants to volunteer, it's crucial that you attend these meetings. This is a very important thing, and obviously, keep an open mind, collect the data, and then share it with us. So who's got an interest? I mean, I had an interest, so you two, and you two, so,
You too, Michael?
yeah. Just, I'm gonna go around the room. Do you have full availability to go?
It's a good question. I don't know what the nights are. What are the, how many meetings we talked about?
I know that's a tough one. I mean, do we know anything, Brian, as far as how frequently? What do we know about?
It's, okay, what, it's done by statute, and basically the school moderator, Steve
Renlet, yeah.
Is, it's solely his show. So, the school board, and probably next Thursday night, will come up with their two. There's been nothing's happened yet. So it's, I think once the moderator appoints it, then collectively that group will decide when and how often they're gonna meet.
Okay,
So there's no really hard
I'm
information.
available anytime they meet.
okay, so I'm looking at 4 people with their hands up.
I'm totally available. Can we have, let me, from a procedural RSA or whatever, is it possible for this committee to appoint a person to be that, but then also appoint an alternate? So that the committee's representative, if the first guy can't
It's
do it?
not covered in the RSA.
Probably not
It
good
just
practice
says
either,
one.
since you're
I'm
information
sorry?
gathering. I don't think the statute's written to allow that,
Okay.
but also probably not wise
Just
for
a
this body
question.
for,
I was-
Yeah, it clearly states one member. It doesn't say anything about
One
alternate.
seat.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, help me out here.
I'm looking to see if there's any times on the,
Yeah.
when they published it, press release.
So what input, as a board, what kind of input are we gonna have? So if we come back with the information, we're not gonna have any.
Listen, I don't know.
It's real interesting,
It's-
can go.
I'm not sure you're coming back, Mike.
Yeah.
You're not coming back to get input
From the board, from the
board.
committee.
Right.
It's the other way around.
Committee makes recommendations.
Yeah, that committee's making
committee.
recommendations. Yeah,
Right.
right. It's really not it's not
No,
school
no,
board,
no,
it's not the
enough
budget
of a
committee.
discussion here
Not
at this level.
advisory. Yeah.
It's, the press release doesn't say anything about times or any
No.
anticipated days or anything like that.
No, they're still forming the groups, so. I would imagine the committee would come up with their schedule like we just looked at ours.
It's your appointment to make, right?
Pardon me?
So it's your appointment to make, right? You draw lots or something?
John, I can draw lots. You want to play fair? We'll draw
No.
lots.
No, it's all right. I can, I'll acquiesce.
The
I'll
number from
move,
1 to 10.
I'll put it down to 3.
Or do you want it, you don't need to do it tonight either.
Yeah, you can do it.
Let me talk to you folks after the meeting. I'll just go from there. But at least we have
Get your
volunteers.
resumes ready?
And we also
How
told you,
competitive process.
this is again not a
Need a new
paid
headshot
position.
though, so give me a
That's
day.
it.
Okay, so,
Can I ask, did the school board decide who was gonna be on the other night? No.
Not an
Is that on the agenda for next week?
I'm sure it's gonna happen next week. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure it will.
Okay. But they did it after the meeting, though. That's how John said, submit your
Interest.
right,
interest.
Yeah, right.
submit your interest. So what does that mean? I'm interested.
That's it, so it's it. We're gonna probably go in the parking lot, buck up, and, maybe get to like.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
old-
thinking over here.
old
What are we
days,
gonna
you know
go
what
do?
I mean? Brush straws.
Okay. That's that one. I had the CIP, but we already discussed that one. And so I've got John and David as an alternate there. Other business. Review of the financials. So we've discussed those. If you have questions, we'll bring them back. I would like to, Jeff, and it should be pretty easy, can we just redistribute to our members a complete contact list of the board members?
Oh, yes, yeah.
so it shouldn't have changed too
So,
much.
yeah,
since-
there's
At all.
nobody new.
In case anything changed for anybody, just make sure that way,
I've moved to my beach house as a different number.
okay.
You're gonna be on, conference call?
That's right.
From your beach in Florida?
That's right. They're still loud, but I'll try to.
So that takes care of 10, future agenda and dates. So our next meeting is scheduled for the 11th. I guess what we can have at that one is, wrap up after I have some, I'm going to talk to Todd about where we think we should go with this candidate for that committee. Questions to re-ask, questions about the financials. If you have any questions, again, on any of the bylaws or the RSAs that govern us. So it's going to be just kind of a cleanup and a wrap-up, but I think we should definitely hold the April 11th meeting. Sound fair to everybody?
It does. Depends on the Bruins.
Well,
Bruins.
Well, you have season tickets, my brother?
No, my daughter's out of town, for Allstate that weekend, so.
so for anybody that doesn't want to watch the Bruins or the Budget Committee, go to the Milkman Show at the Pack that night.
All right, so there's a lot of choices. Maybe the Bachelorette's on, I don't know, but April 11th will be our next meeting. And so what I have in the parking lot right now is
Files. easier
your
for the
files,
public.
so the agenda packet, access to data. Kind of it. I don't want to make that parking lot too big yet. This is what I would like to get, Jeff, if we can do it. We didn't do it last year. We seem to post our meetings, just the fact that we're having a meeting, kind of up to the bare minimum amount of time. So this is my suggestion. We know we're having a meeting on April 11th. I don't know, post it 5 days before. Instead of waiting, you don't have to post it 48 hours before, so we wait till 40.
No. The way that we post
Yeah.
is by posting the agenda, typically.
Sometimes there's an email that goes that says, there's going to be a BudCom meeting on April 11th,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
And then later on, we might get another email, this is the agenda for that. My point is, for the purposes of the public, putting those because those meeting notices go up on all the buildings. Again, I want to look at it as more advanced transparency, is instead of telling people there's a meeting in 2 days, let's tell them there's a meeting.
Yeah.
John, did you?
So we will also, like, on that day or the next day, get an email stating that the school board's agenda for the week after, so sometimes we're seeing next week's school board meeting at the same time we're finding out about our agenda for the school. So earlier is much better than,
So I don't think it's very hard. It's the same amount of effort. I'm just saying, we know the dates. Let's just put it out there a few days earlier.
Maybe I'll talk to Kathy and see, maybe we should just put a notice up and not by the agenda. Meaning that we'll do a notice that here's the meeting.
Here's the
So then
meeting.
I'll post that on all the public places and the
Yeah.
agenda can be found somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was under future agenda and dates. Does anybody else have any other information? Anybody on the right? Julie? On the left? Nothing? Then I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
So David,
Second.
and seconded by Todd. So this meeting is adjourned. I'm sorry, all those in favor? It's unanimous. And so this meeting is adjourned at 8:20. Thank you all.